The night was calm, and the air carried the sweet scent of ripe persimmons and chrysanthemums, signaling the arrival of autumn. May stood on her family's balcony, gazing up at the full moon hanging like a glowing pearl in the deep night sky. Tonight was the Mid-Autumn Festival, also known as the Moon Festival. It was a time to celebrate family, reflect on the harvest, and honor traditions passed down through generations. From where she stood, May could see her small village nestled along the riverbank. The streets were bathed in the warm glow of lanterns, red and gold swaying gently with the breeze. The laughter of children echoed from below, and the hum of preparations filled the air as families gathered to celebrate beneath the full moon. May took a deep breath, savoring the crisp autumn air. As she watched, a lantern floated upward, carried by the wind, its soft light joining the stars above. The moon feels so close tonight, almost as if it's watching over us, May said thoughtfully, her eyes tracing the path of the floating lantern. May's family had always celebrated the Moon Festival with great care. Every year they gathered under the open sky, sharing a meal and stories that spanned lifetimes. As a child, May had helped her grandmother prepare moon cakes, carefully filling each one with lotus paste or red bean before pressing intricate designs of rabbits and flowers into the dough. May, my dear, always remember, the moon cakes are not just for eating. They carry the blessings of the harvest and the hopes of the year to come, her grandmother said warmly, her weathered hands shaping each moon cake with care. Her grandmother had been the storyteller in the family, always recounting the tale of Chang'e, the moon goddess who lived in the heavens, watching over the world with her jade rabbit by her side. May would sit by her grandmother's side, wide-eyed as the legend came to life in her mind. "Do you think Chang'e is watching us tonight, grandmother?" May asked, her voice filled with the curiosity of her childhood memories. "Oh, May, of course. She watches over all of us during the Moon Festival. She's waiting, listening to our stories," her grandmother said with a soft chuckle, her eyes twinkling in the lantern light. Tonight, those stories continued. Her family gathered in the courtyard below, preparing the meal that had become a tradition. Her father was busy at the clay oven, carefully roasting braised duck with spices, while her mother steamed baskets of vegetables and rice. The aroma of sesame oil and ginger wafted through the cool night air. May descended the steps to join them. The table was set, adorned with lanterns and a platter of freshly made moon cakes. Her younger brother, excited as always, was already eyeing the dessert. "I'll have the one with the double yolk. It's lucky after all," her brother said excitedly, his eyes widening at the sight of the moon cakes. "You can have your moon cake after we give thanks to the moon," her father said, laughing as he caught her brother's eager glance at the dessert. As the evening progressed, the family gathered around the table, their faces glowing in the lantern light. The Moon Festival was a time not only to celebrate the harvest, but also to bring the family together to share stories and to feel the connection that spanned across the generations. The Moon Festival was in full swing, with music drifting softly through the village streets. Lanterns swayed in the gentle breeze, and the sound of children running with their lighted orbs of red, yellow, and orange filled the night air. May's family gathered for the traditional feast. Her father placed the braised duck in the center of the table, its skin glistening with a golden brown glaze. The vegetables, stir-fried with ginger and soy, shimmered in the candlelight. In the center of the table was a plate of moon cakes, each with delicate imprints of flowers and mythical symbols, reminding them of the moon goddess. "This year's harvest was bountiful. Let us give thanks for the food and the light of the full moon," her father said with pride, his voice steady and strong. "And may we be reunited under this moon for many years to come," her mother said softly, her gaze drifting to the sky. May smiled as her brother reached for a slice of mooncake, his face lighting up at the first bite. The best one yet," her brother said, his voice muffled by the sweet pastry. "You say that every year?" May said teasingly, watching him as he quickly reached for another bite. As they ate, May's uncle, who had traveled from the city for the festival, began recounting tales of past celebrations. His voice carried the warmth of nostalgia, and soon everyone joined in, sharing memories of festivals from when they were young. "Do you remember when we tried to make our own lanterns? They flew straight into the pond," Uncle said, laughing at the memory, his eyes twinkling with amusement. The conversation flowed easily, with laughter and stories punctuating the peaceful hum of the village beyond. May felt a deep sense of belonging in this moment, surrounded by family, food, and the comforting glow of the moon. As the meal slowed and the air became cooler, May's mother began to tell the story of Chang'e, the moon goddess, as they all gazed up at the bright, glowing moon. Long ago, in a time of great difficulty, Chang'e drank the elixir of immortality to save her husband Hu Yi from the hands of the greedy. She rose to the heavens where she now lives on the moon, accompanied by her loyal jade rabbit. On nights like this, when the moon is full and bright, you can see her there, watching over us, her mother said serenely, her voice carrying the soft cadence of a well-loved story. May had always loved this story, picturing Chang'e in her flowing robes drifting through the night sky. The moon seemed even brighter as her mother spoke, as if the goddess herself was blessing their gathering with her presence. The night deepened, and the crispness of autumn settled in. May could feel the cool air brushing against her skin as she stepped away from the table to stand in the garden. The osmanthus tree above her was in full bloom, its sweet fragrance mixing with the scent of the cooling earth. She closed her eyes for a moment, letting the sounds of the night wash over her. "The moon is so full tonight. It feels like it holds the stories of everyone celebrating beneath it," May said thoughtfully, her gaze locked on the bright orb above. The wind whispered through the trees, and in the distance she could hear the faint rustling of leaves as the village quieted down. Lanterns still flickered in windows, casting a warm golden glow. The night was peaceful, with only the soft murmur of the river nearby and the occasional flutter of a bird's wings overhead. May returned to the table, where her family now sat in quiet contentment. Her father poured chrysanthemum tea, the steam rising in delicate tendrils. The aroma of the tea mingled with the cool night air, bringing warmth and comfort. "May, come sit. The night is still young, and there is much to reflect on," her father said gently, motioning for her to join them by the glowing lanterns. They sipped their tea in companionable silence, their gazes often drifting upward to the moon. May felt a deep sense of peace, the kind that comes from being surrounded by loved ones and knowing that, for this night, everything was exactly as it should be. As the moon continued its journey across the sky, May's eyes grew heavy. The warmth of her family, the scent of the tea, and the soft hum of the night lulled her into a state of calm. "Good night, Chang'e," May said sleepily, her voice barely a whisper as her eyelids grew heavier. The moon watched over them, glowing brightly as the night whispered its secrets to those willing to listen. As the family drifted to sleep, they carried with them the light of the full moon and the warmth of a tradition that would continue year after year. As the moonlight continues to bathe the world in its gentle glow, let your mind drift into a peaceful sleep, carried by the stories and warmth of the moon festival.